This is huge. Lyric just scored a massive legal victory against Destiny, and the courtroom drama was intense. Destiny walked in confident, but by the end, she was breaking down in tears. So, what really went down behind those closed doors? Why was the case dismissed? And most importantly, what does this mean for their messy past and Destiny's future? Stay tuned because we've got exclusive details you won't hear anywhere else. Welcome back to the channel, The Celeb Report, where we bring you the latest, juiciest, and most scandalous updates in the world of reality TV drama. Today, we've got a blockbuster for you. Lyric's shocking courtroom victory over Destiny. For months, we've watched the tension between these two build up. Accusations were flying, lawsuits were filed, and the drama just kept getting messier. But now, the case has taken a turn that nobody saw coming. What led to this major legal showdown? Why did the judge throw the case out? And most importantly, why was Destiny in tears after the verdict? We're breaking down every detail from court documents to insider reports, so make sure you watch until the very end, because there's a twist in this case that could change everything. Lyric and Destiny's history has been anything but smooth, and their legal battle was just another chapter in their rocky past. It all started when Destiny made several claims about her ex-husband publicly, hinting at financial struggles, broken promises, and behind-the-scenes conflicts that fans of love and marriage Huntsville quickly latched onto. She painted a picture of a tumultuous marriage, one where she allegedly endured hardships that she subtly and sometimes directly blamed on Lyric. But Lyric wasn't about to let those claims go unanswered. Reports surfaced that he was taking legal action, possibly over defamation or financial disputes related to their marriage. While the specifics of the lawsuit were initially kept under wraps, rumors circulated that Lyric was seeking to clear his name and push back against what he saw as false narratives being spread about him. As the legal proceedings gained momentum, Destiny seemed confident, often posting cryptic messages on social media that hinted at a woman standing her ground and refusing to be silenced. Some of her posts led fans to believe she had the upper hand in the case. But what many didn't realize was that Lyric was quietly building a solid legal strategy behind the scenes. Court records later revealed that the case was far more complex than Destiny's online statements suggested. Sources close to the situation claimed that Lyric's legal team had compiled a series of documents and testimonies that would directly challenge Destiny's claims. These documents allegedly included financial records, past communications, and key testimonies from individuals close to both parties. The judge's decision to dismiss the case was a major blow to Destiny's position. The overwhelming evidence presented by Lyric's team left little room for her claims to stand up in court. As the verdict was read, Destiny broke down in tears, clearly shaken by the outcome. It's a stunning twist in their ongoing drama, and it leaves many wondering what comes next for both of them. As the court date approached, speculation ran wild. Would Destiny be able to back up her claims with hard evidence, or was Lyric about to expose inconsistencies in her story? Many fans of the show took sides, with some supporting Destiny as a strong woman speaking her truth, and others siding with Lyric, believing he was being unfairly portrayed. But what happened in the courtroom was something nobody expected. The case took an unexpected turn, one that left Destiny visibly shaken and struggling to contain her emotions. What exactly did Lyric present that led to such a dramatic reaction, and why did the judge ultimately dismiss the case? That's where things get even more interesting. The tension inside the courtroom was palpable from the moment both parties arrived. Lyric, known for keeping a relatively low profile compared to Destiny, appeared calm and collected, dressed sharply in a manner that exuded quiet confidence. On the other hand, Destiny walked in with an air of determination, as if she was ready to fight for her side of the story. She had been vocal about her struggles post-divorce, often implying that she had been wronged in more ways than one. As proceedings began, it became clear that Lyric's legal team was not there to play games. Right from the start, his attorneys laid out a structured argument, systematically dismantling the claims Destiny had made over the past months. Witnesses were called, financial records were presented, and most shockingly, private communications between the former couple were introduced as evidence. This is where things took a drastic turn. The courtroom was filled with murmurs as certain messages and financial transactions contradicted Destiny's public narrative. One of the key pieces of evidence presented was reportedly a financial breakdown that showed payments, support, and other contributions from Lyric that Destiny had previously claimed she never received. It was a moment of reckoning, one that visibly unsettled Destiny as she listened to the arguments unfold. But the biggest shocker came when the judge addressed Destiny directly. According to insiders who were present, the judge questioned inconsistencies in her statements and evidence. It appeared there were gaps in her claims, moments where details did not align with the documented records. When asked for further proof, Destiny struggled to provide solid responses, which only strengthened Lyric's case. As Lyric's attorneys continued their argument, they emphasized one critical point: this lawsuit should never have been filed in the first place. They argued that Destiny's statements, whether made in interviews or on social media, had created a public narrative that painted Lyric in a misleading light. While they acknowledged that every divorce has its challenges, they contended that certain claims went beyond personal grievances and veered into harmful misrepresentation. By the time Destiny's legal team had their turn to respond, the atmosphere had shifted dramatically. What initially seemed like a balanced courtroom battle was now tipping heavily in Lyric's favor. Destiny's defense was reportedly not as airtight as expected, and while they tried to push back against some of the evidence, the damage had already been done. As the judge prepared to make a ruling, there was an air of finality in the room. Those who had been following the case knew that a decision could define Destiny's public perception for years to come. Then, in a statement that sent shockwaves through the room, the judge dismissed the case, ruling that there was insufficient evidence to support Destiny's claims and that Lyric had successfully demonstrated flaws in the accusations made against him. The moment the decision was announced, Destiny's reaction was immediate and raw. She looked stunned, as if she had not fully processed what had just happened. Those present described her as emotional, even teary-eyed, as the weight of the ruling set in. Some say she muttered something under her breath, while others claimed she simply sat there in silence, staring at the judge as if hoping for a reversal. Meanwhile, Lyric remained composed, though those close to him later said he felt vindicated by the outcome. For him, this wasn't just about winning a legal case. It was about clearing his name and putting an end to the narrative that had painted him in a negative light. But even with the case dismissed, one major question remains: how will this impact Destiny moving forward? Will she address the ruling publicly, or will she attempt to shift the narrative once again? More importantly, how will this ruling affect her standing in love and marriage, Huntsville and beyond? The aftermath of this courtroom drama is far from over, and what happens next could change everything. The moment the judge ruled in Lyric's favor and dismissed the case, the atmosphere in the courtroom shifted completely. Those who had initially expected Destiny to walk out victorious were left in stunned silence. Away victorious, those who had expected Destiny to walk out triumphant were left stunned, but no one seemed more shaken than Destiny herself. According to multiple eyewitness accounts, as soon as the reality of the ruling set in, Destiny's composure began to crack. For weeks, she had projected confidence both in court and on social media, making it seem like she had an airtight case. But as the judge's words rang through the courtroom, declaring the case dismissed, Destiny was left in disbelief. At first, she sat frozen, staring at the judge as if trying to process what had just happened. Then, as murmurs filled the courtroom, her emotions took over. Some reports suggest that she whispered something to her attorney, while others claim she muttered, "This isn't fair," under her breath. Either way, one thing was clear. This was not the outcome she had expected. Lyric and his legal team exchanged quiet, satisfied glances. Destiny's expression darkened. Her eyes welled up, and she reached for a tissue, dabbing at her face as she fought back tears. Those who were there said it was a stark contrast to the confident and composed Destiny who had walked into the courtroom earlier that day. The same woman who had once posted cryptic messages about standing her ground and fighting back was now visibly shaken, struggling to keep herself together. But the real shock came when she left the courtroom. Instead of walking out with her usual self-assured stride, Destiny hurried past reporters and onlookers, avoiding eye contact and refusing to make any comments. Her legal team followed closely behind, whispering among themselves as if strategizing their next move. Meanwhile, Lyric walked out looking like a man who had just been vindicated. While he didn't make any grand statements or celebrate publicly, those who saw him said he appeared relieved. He had taken a massive risk by challenging Destiny's claims, and now, with the case dismissed, he had not only cleared his name but also regained control of his narrative. If Destiny thought the courtroom was the end of her troubles, she was mistaken. As soon as the ruling became public knowledge, social media exploded. Fans of love and marriage, Huntsville wasted no time dissecting every detail of the case. Some immediately took Destiny's side, arguing that just because the case was dismissed didn't mean she had lied. Perhaps she just didn't have the right evidence. Others, however, were not so forgiving. Critics quickly pointed out the inconsistencies in Destiny's past statements, comparing them to what had been revealed in court. Some resurfaced old interviews and social media posts where she had made strong claims against Lyric, questioning how those statements aligned with the court's findings. The backlash was swift, with some fans accusing her of exaggerating or even fabricating parts of her story to gain sympathy. Then came the fallout among her own supporters. Some of Destiny's most vocal fans, who had previously backed her unconditionally, began to express doubt. They wanted answers. Why was the case dismissed? Why didn't Destiny have stronger evidence? And most importantly, would she finally address the truth? As the pressure mounted, Destiny remained noticeably silent. Normally active on social media, she suddenly went quiet, no cryptic posts, no fiery responses, just silence. It was a move many interpreted as a sign that she was struggling to figure out her next steps. But silence wouldn't protect her for long, because while she tried to regroup, the scrutiny continued to grow. Another storm was brewing, one that threatened not just Destiny's reputation but her entire career. Would she finally come forward with her side of the story, or would she continue to avoid the tough questions? And what about Lyric? Would he take this opportunity to speak out, or would he choose to remain silent now that he had won? One thing was certain, this scandal was far from over. The next move Destiny made could either redeem her in the eyes of the public or permanently damage her credibility. In the days following the courtroom drama, Destiny's silence became deafening. For someone who had been so vocal about her struggles and so adamant about her side of the story, her sudden disappearance from social media and public conversations only fueled speculation. Fans who had once rallied behind her began demanding answers. Where was the fiery, outspoken Destiny who never backed down from a challenge? Why wasn't she addressing the ruling? And, most importantly, was her silence an admission of defeat? While Destiny retreated from the spotlight, the conversation surrounding her didn't die down. If anything, it only intensified. Social media was flooded with discussions, theories, and even memes dissecting her courtroom loss. Some fans defended her, insisting that just because the judge dismissed the case didn't mean she had lied. Perhaps she simply didn't have the right legal representation, or maybe the system had failed her. But others weren't as forgiving. Critics accused her of misleading the public, saying she had built an entire narrative around a case that ultimately didn't hold up in court. As the backlash grew, several of Destiny's past interviews and statements resurfaced. Clips of her discussing her relationship with Lyric were analyzed frame by frame, with viewers pointing out contradictions between her public statements and what was revealed in court. Some noted that she had once claimed to have received little to no financial support, yet documents presented during the trial suggested otherwise. Others recalled moments when she hinted at emotional and financial hardships post-divorce, only for court evidence to contradict her timeline of events. For someone who had built her brand on being a strong, independent woman who had survived a tough marriage, this was a devastating blow. Destiny had spent so much time framing her story in a particular way that when the legal outcome didn't align with her claims, it made people question everything she had said before. Meanwhile, Lyric's reaction to his legal victory was the complete opposite. Unlike Destiny, he didn't disappear. Instead, he maintained his composed, low-key presence, letting the court ruling speak for itself. He didn't gloat, didn't post celebratory messages, and didn't throw jabs at Destiny, at least not publicly. But his silence carried a different kind of power. It sent a message that he had won, not just in court but in the court of public opinion. However, behind the scenes, Lyric was reportedly making strategic moves. Insiders claimed that he was considering speaking out, not to engage in a public war with Destiny, but to set the record straight once and for all. Some sources suggested he had been approached for interviews, while others hinted that he was contemplating a public statement to clarify key details about the case. If Lyric did decide to speak, it could be the final nail in the coffin for Destiny's already tarnished public image. As the pressure mounted on both sides, the battle for public perception intensified. With Destiny's silence continuing and Lyric seemingly on the verge of speaking out, the next chapter of this ongoing drama promised to reveal even more truths and possibly even more scandal. Up until now, Destiny had controlled much of the narrative surrounding their divorce. But with the case dismissed and the court's findings now public, the balance of power had shifted. Lyric no longer had to defend himself. He had the law on his side. Even as Lyric remained relatively quiet, the impact of the courtroom loss was already beginning to take a toll on Destiny's career. Destiny had built a brand that relied heavily on her personal story. She had positioned herself as a woman who had overcome betrayal, struggled through financial hardship, and fought to reclaim her independence. This narrative had not only gained her sympathy, but also helped her build a following, secure business opportunities, and establish herself as a key figure in the love and marriage Huntsville universe. But now, that foundation was cracking. Fans who once supported her were now questioning her integrity. Some were calling for her to be removed from the show, arguing that she had misled the public. Others wondered if the producers would continue to feature her as prominently, given that much of her storyline had revolved around her ongoing battle with Lyric. Then there was the issue of trust. If viewers no longer believed her version of events, would they still be invested in her future? The fallout extended beyond fan reactions. Business opportunities that once seemed promising were now at risk. Brands that had associated themselves with Destiny might reconsider their partnerships, further jeopardizing her career. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel.